So what is the truth about being a listing agent? Hey there, if this is your first time to the channel, my name's Amanda. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and tap that bell for notifications so that you'll be the first to know when I upload a new video each and every week. Let's get right into it. What is the truth about being a listing agent? I've been in real estate for over 15 years now, and listings have always been something that I wanted to go after and have gone after, mainly because when you are a listing agent, you have far more control over your time than when you are a buyer's agent. When you're a buyer's agent, you're running all over town. You have to drop everything you're doing and go show a house, especially with how the market has been, and you're just running around a lot more. Where when you're a listing agent, you of course have to go and meet with the seller to give your listing presentation. But once you have secured that listing, you are not visiting that home daily or out and about running around every day. You secure the listing, and then the next step from there is arranging the vendors to come in that you need to get your marketing ready to go to put the home on the market. So you'll schedule the photographer, you'll schedule someone to do the floor plan, the virtual tour, you'll order the signposts to be installed. But all of that can be done on your time. You could even do it in the middle of the night if that's what worked for your schedule. You're just not out running around as much. Being a listing agent takes a different skill set than being a buyer's agent, because you have to be able to convince the seller to first list with you. And it's not just a matter of convincing them to sign the listing paperwork, although that is one of the steps. You also need to be able to show them comparable sales, show them the data for the neighborhood, to then be able to determine the proper list price. The last thing you want to do is secure a listing, but take one that's overpriced, because then, quite frankly, you're going to be wasting a lot of your time. In the past couple of years, you certainly could overprice homes, and because there was nothing else on the market, they would still go under contract. But that's not what I'm seeing in the current market. So you really have to be able to show your value and show your knowledge of the neighborhood and the comps so that you can get the sellers to agree to where the house needs to be priced in order for it to sell. Another component of being a listing agent, and it's one of the things that I love about being a listing agent, is once you've secured that listing, you can use that listing to leverage to get more listings. Don't miss the opportunity once you've secured the listing to then either make calls to the neighborhood, send a mailer to the neighborhood, or if you're planning on having an open house, be sure to door knock the neighborhood and invite them to your open house. Having a listing will get you more listings, and now that the market has cooled a little bit, you actually have time to leverage your listing to get others. It was a little bit different in the past couple of years. Everything was different in the past couple of years. But you want to use that listing to be able to then tap into other people in the neighborhood that are considering selling, to be able to secure appointments with them and potentially get more listings. If you're going to be hosting an open house for your listing, be sure to start preparing for it about a week ahead of time. I'll link another video up here on how to host an epic open house. That's a great way to be able to invite people from the neighborhood to come in and check out your listing. As a listing agent, you will also, of course, be presenting offers to your sellers. And if you get multiple offers, you are going to want to keep a spreadsheet. So as the offers come in, you can extract the most important components of them. And that way it's a much more streamlined process for your sellers when, if you've set an offer deadline, you have everything organized in a spreadsheet for them, so that when you meet with them, they're not flipping through pages and pages of all of the offers. They can simply view the spreadsheet, see the most important terms, and then you can consult with them on which offer is going to be the best for them to work with. It's always ultimately their decision, but your job as a listing agent is to make that process as simple as possible. And if you have that spreadsheet, you can then extract the information that they really need to look at. So you want to list the agent's name, the brokerage that the buyer's agent works with, the buyer's names. You want to have what type of financing. You want to have the down payment, of course, the sale price, any seller concessions, all of the contingencies that are in each offer. And then you also want to have the closing date and whether or not there's any type of rent back. I have a multiple offer spreadsheet. If you're interested in a copy of that, just drop me a comment below and I will get it to you. It's very helpful to be able to present an offer in a clean way. And with the market cooling, even if you've received just one offer and you're not expecting any others, don't just forward that offer over to your sellers. That's not doing them any type of service. You want to review that offer. First, make sure that it has a pre-approval or proof of funds included with it. Then from there, you want to call the lender if they are doing financing and actually discuss the financing to make sure that the source of the down payment has been verified, credit has been run, and income documents have also been obtained and verified. Then from there, before you send it over to your clients, make sure, again, you extract the most important information. If it's just one offer, you certainly don't need to do a spreadsheet, but when you send it over to them, put it in the body of your email so that they know what's important to focus on, so that once you have a call with them or if you go meet with them in person, you all can focus on whether or not there needs to be a counter or if they want to accept the offer the way that it's written. Once you're under contract, your job as a listing agent is still not complete. Once you go under contract, then you're going to be managing all of the deadlines in the contract. Typically in Virginia, the first deadline that comes up is one of two things. It's either going to be confirming receipt of the earnest money deposit, and you should be able to do that through the title company. A lot of them will send out proof of receipt on their own, but sometimes you have to reach out and remind them. And you absolutely owe that to your sellers to be able to tell them that, yes, the buyer's earnest money has been received. We can check that off the list. And then the second component is if you have a home inspection contingency, that's typically the first deadline that will come up once the earnest money is received. So you want to make sure the buyer is staying within the contract for that deadline. From there may be a financing contingency, there might be an appraisal contingency, there may need to be a termite inspection done. There are a lot of varying contingencies, so you want to make sure that you're managing those. And once you reach a certain point, you're quite frankly going to be too busy to manage those, and that's when you want to look into hiring a transaction coordinator. It's money well spent. I know in our area it ranges anywhere from $300 to $400 a transaction. They don't get paid unless the deal closes, so you're not out anything if something falls apart. And then once that time is freed up for you, you can use that to be working on getting additional business. As you're working through the contingencies and deadlines in the contract, you're also going to be in touch with your sellers, keeping them updated and advising them of what the next steps are. And as you're navigating your way through the contract and you're getting closer to settlement, you're going to want to be reminding them about taking utilities out of their names, giving them the date that they need to provide to the utility companies so that there's no miscommunication there. You want to make sure they understand what condition they need to leave the house in upon their move out. And you need to make sure that they know that they have to be out on whatever date it is. Sometimes sellers get a little confused in that aspect of things where, let's say, closing is going to be on October 1st. They think that they can still be in there on October 1st, and at least in Virginia, that's definitely not the case. You have to be out before, and then the buyer's going to be heading in before closing to do their walkthrough. All of this management of deadlines and timing is your responsibility as a listing agent. When you're going from meeting with a seller initially to your marketing presentation, you have to then take them all the way through closing. And then after closing, you want to stay in touch with them. That's also your job as a listing agent. You don't just get them to the closing table and then send them on their way. Continue to nurture that relationship so that you can then gain referrals, and if they're staying in the area, repeat business as well. This is what it's really like to be a listing agent. I think every agent should focus on getting listings. You have a much more predictable real estate business when you have listings because you can calculate roughly how long it's going to take for them to sell and then determine how many more listings you need to fill in to keep your pipeline consistent. If you like working with buyers, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Your listings will get you buyers as well. But I think every agent, to have a more predictable real estate business and more control of their time, should be focusing on listings. So until next time, I hope you all take care. If you got some value from this video, please consider dropping me a comment below or hitting that subscribe button.